Hey, what's up, Couch Potatoes? We are back for some more spooky season today. It's the one that she was dreading. If we had put one skip, I think, in our list, this would have been the skip for her.
Veto.
2016, this is Terrifier, directed by Damien Leone. Written and directed by Damien Leone. This is probably a very independently made film, and now that I've seen it, I understand, because there's no way you get this past the MPAA. This is one of those where it's like I'd heard all the things about it, and I had heard the jokes about sawing and things like that, and I understand now that I've seen the movie. And here's the thing: is I would just say, first impressions. I feel like, and I always feel like this. You build it up to something so much in your mind that when you see it, it's not like she was scared of lights out for 8-9 years. We didn't watch it. And then when she watched it, it was just kind of like, oh, that's fine.
And now I don't even remember anything about
exactly,
it.
Exactly. So I am not going to go as far as to say I don't think that you'll not remember anything about this.
Oh, no.
But I will also say that besides covering your face with your hands a couple times, I think you did pretty good with the virus.
It wasn't nearly as...
Scares don't get her. Gore...
Yeah, the gore I thought was going to really turn me out. But it was manageable.
Okay, well, let's just start your overall thoughts. I mean, I guess did it meet expectations for you, or was it underwhelming, or was it fine? How did you feel about
I was kind of reviewing, and this is one of the scarier ones that we watched. Definitely, there was, in addition to the gore, there was real fear. It wasn't just gore porn. I did feel like there was a fear behind it. But yeah, I thought it was good.
I didn't write down my pumpkin ratings and stuff, so I'm gonna have to wing it here. For me, it was a lot of expectations for it, just because I feel like Art the Clown is like becoming like a pop culture icon now, which is wild. Because I think about a movie like this that started with an independent release and made on the budget of like less than $1 million. It's that's just amazing. And I feel like that's the way that horror needs to go. I feel like there's just so much red tape involved. Like, you go back and watch all the making of Nightmare on Elm Street and all that stuff, and you watch that documentary, Never Sleep Again, and there's talk about like how much red tape they had to do just to get it down to an R rating.
Yeah.
Because the MPAA is just so strict. It's like with this, if this had got a major release from a major studio, this would have been NC-17 or X, maybe. I think there's no way they could have got this out back in the day. But for me, it felt like a real throwback to 80s slasher horror, which I'm a huge, huge fan of, obviously. But I was like thinking, okay, I'm going to be honest here. I thought, oh, okay, we're just kind of capitalize on that success of it, because of Pennywise, stuff like that. I never really felt like it was Pennywise at all. I got a lot more with John Wayne Gacy, I guess, out of him.
Sure. And I was thinking like almost like a French mime, especially because he was
mixed
mute.
with like an evil mime or something like that.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're seeing Halloween costumes for Art the Clown now and stuff, that's when you cross over and you become like, I don't feel like we've had a real big horror movie icon since maybe Jigsaw was the last one. I think the last big one where everyone kind of recognized who it was. I mean, I saw several Halloween costumes of this. I actually, be truthful, seeing a Halloween costume at my kids' orchestra concert, because they got to dress up as characters.
Middle school.
Junior high kids, no junior high kids should be wearing it. I should be watching this to wear that costume. Yeah. And I think about that. I was like, we watched Friday the 13th. We watched Jason. We watched Freddy when we were younger, but I don't feel like they had anything quite like this. So what did you like about Terrifier? Why don't you take it away here? What did you like about the movie?
Right off the bat, we were kind of messing with timeline. You and I were kicking back and forth. Like, is this looping back to when she was disfigured, or is this going into the future? So I liked that element of it. I thought that was kind of a cool story frame. Let's see. I'm actually...
She has notes, you guys.
Yeah, I'm actually glad the friend got. I didn't like her. I'm happy her character got split in half. Yeah.
I mean, that was obvious. I mean, anybody if you watched any slash movie in the 80s, you knew how that was going. I think what I liked is that it kind of took the final girl thing and kind of turned it on its head. Because you assume, I can't remember their names, but her friend.
Sisters.
You assume that it's going to be her. For me, it was like as soon as she called and dragged her sister into it, I feel like that was going to be it. But still, if you're talking about traditional horror movies, this was going to be one where it was the final girl. And you have that moment where it looks like she's about to win.
Yeah.
And he pulls out a gun. It's like, what the
I love that. Switch it up. Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that, because it's one of those where it does subvert expectations, because all these slasher movies never had a gun.
Right.
So I feel like it did kind of do that. But also, it was just like so foreign to me. I was like, I don't know. I kind of do like that.
I know. I like that. He's like, okay, you don't want to play by my rules. I'm going to switch up the rules.
And so I guess it just leaving some things vague. Like, clearly this guy's not human. Because some of the stuff that happened, I mean, obviously he blows his own brains out and he's still alive. So clearly he's not human. And I'm one of those things like I say this all the time with like my fantasy books and like how about how magic system works. I don't need to know this stuff. I don't need you to explain everything to me. I think with a movie like this, okay, yeah, he's obviously otherworldly. I'm good with that explanation. I don't need some explanation of what he is. Now I figure they're going to go into the sequels and stuff like that. But you don't need to show me how Anakin became Darth Vader. I like the mystery of it, and I think that's just something that makes it a little more creepy. So I like that. I liked a lot of the aesthetic. The aesthetic really looked like the grainy films. It just looked like it was something that could have been made on a low budget in the 80s. That's just kind of how the look that it had. And the soundtrack was awesome. I love like this horror synth is just like so good. I mean, I'm a John Carpenter fan, so I've always loved that. Anything else you liked before we moved on what you didn't like?
I like that everybody was fair game.
Yeah.
I do feel like maybe, and this might go into what we don't like, but I did feel like, I think you had said something like maybe it was an attack on women movie, or somebody was telling you that it was an attack on women.
People told me they didn't like that it had so much violence on women. I'm like, I mean,
but every guy in that movie
guys were getting their heads smashed in, so I don't feel like he was very selective in that regard.
We opened with a man's decapitated head jack-o'-lantern. So
yeah.
I feel like everybody was fair game. I feel really bad for that second exterminator who came, and he's like, dude, where are you at? I'm going to save everybody.
You should just went, man. You had an out. You should have just went.
Yeah,
I'm getting a pop-up on this thing while we're recording. How awesome is that? What'd you not like? Besides the gore, what'd you not like?
This when you think she's gonna be the final girl and she's like, I've got you, just stand up.
Oh, stand up, yeah.
No, why does he need to just go ahead and end it?
I try to think
he doesn't need to stand up. This is weird. Can we just deal the final blow?
I try to think logically, like just as humans, we're not killers by nature, so it's like you're one of the, I'm really one of those, hey, when it comes to life or death, it's that's just the way that you go. You do what needs to be done, but it's easy for me to say sitting here on the couch that, oh, I got him down, I'm just going to stab the shit out of him while he's on the ground. It's easy for me to say that, again, sitting in the safe comforts of my home watching this movie. But I say that in every horror movie. It's like, you got him down, why are you leaving? Double tap, man.
Yeah. And she didn't even really have him down. She kept begging for him to stand back up. And I was like, no, friend, you've been losing this fight the whole time.
And I think that was trying to make it be the final girl moment. And it just says, oh, yeah, gotcha. Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha, bitch.
And I did not like the ending. I didn't like the ending because there was nothing to indicate earlier that he was anything other than mortal human. And it just seemed like a big old MacGuffin. Like, well, we think we might want to do more movies, so he's alive.
I don't know that I got that. Like I said, I feel like all these horror movies I used to watch in the 80s was always like, okay, you got to where you think that they're dead, and then you do that little tease at the end that they're not actually dead.
Yeah.
Again, this was, I want to say, self-financed. I don't think that they ever were like, yeah, we're going to make a franchise out of this. I think that was the last thing on this guy's mind, especially from what I've heard.
It's such a departure from everything else in the movie, where everything else was gristly real. And
I'm a sadist. I forgot to say that I liked the level of violence. I watch movies like this for stuff like that, so I like that they didn't shy away from that. The sawing scene was something.
I looked through.
I give it credit is like I would say the Halloween movies got so bad in the sequels that I would just grade them on how good Michael Myers' kills were. That's an all timer. That's a big one right there. That's one that's hard to think that'll be topped in this franchise.
And I do think not the gore part, but the tension of it is not just that he did it, but he showcased it. He made a display out of it. That
made her watch.
That makes it so much
worse.
more.
I would say like the best thing that could have happened there was after he saw this girl in half and he took her phone and jokingly took a selfie with it like she did with him. He should have posted it to her Instagram. That way, because she said, "Oh, I put you on Instagram. You already got 8 likes or something." That would have been the ultimate troll job, I think. But I just got to think that the police are just stupid in this town. It's like, oh, hey, this crazy slaughter just took place like a block down the street, and there's like nobody police presence anywhere. Around. You're not knocking on doors, not doing this stuff. Hey, maybe it's shitty one-cop town.
What are the odds that she wants to go to the bathroom in this one abandoned parking garage where there happens to be an exterminator, and that's just where he ends up? Yeah. What are the odds?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to horror movies, I try not to get too serious about, hey, well, that doesn't make much sense. That doesn't check out. I mean, we're there for the body count, and the body count was high, and it was messy. And look, I guess I'd say my final thoughts on it is I'm anxious to watch the sequels. I want to know more because I've been told that it does explain a little bit more of his origin and what he is exactly. I'm expecting intergalactic space spider.
Space clowns.
But I figured I would give you a little bit of a break before I said, "Hey, let's watch." We had this list of movies to watch.
Yeah, no, I was not for this year, but I am down for a sequel. Maybe you could redeem that weird tacked on ending.
I don't know. I feel like this.
But I'm like you. I don't need it completely explained. It just didn't jive with the rest of the movie.
My big complaint with a lot of horror movies these days, the elevated horror as they call it, is too damn long. I like that this was a tight 90 minutes or so.
Yes.
And I see the Terrifier 2 is 2+ hours, and I'm like, oh no. So that's got me a little concerned there. But I've heard such great things about these sequels, so we'll see. So star rating, Pumpkin Meter. I think this might be. I don't want to say this is going to take your scariest of all spooky season, but I think it's going to be up there. It's going to be a finalist. So star rating, Pumpkins.
3 stars. I did 3 pumpkins.
Out of 5?
I did 3 out of 5.
Wow, okay.
I'm thinking about pushing to 4, but I don't want to do 3.5. I don't like that. So I'm just going to stick with 3.
Taking the safe route. I say, I gotta figure something out, guys, because I used to never be able to get her to watch horror movies. Now she doesn't get scared by them anymore, apparently. You haven't gotten higher than a 3 yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
Wow, okay. Even Conjuring? Yeah, you did for The Conjuring. You had to for The Conjuring.
I didn't pumpkin The Conjuring.
We had seen The Conjuring numerous times, and this time she was still hiding under the blankets. Yeah, guys. Anyway, for me, I would go.
Clapping.
I'll go halves on the star ratings, and I would go 3.5 on this. It could have been pushed to 4 if a few other things had broke differently. Because, like I said, I am a huge fan of 80s slashers, and I felt like it was very much a hat tip to that. I love the aesthetic. I love the soundtrack. I think Art is just all world spooky. He's got all the makings. You can make your character that scary without talking. That's great. I hope that's something that doesn't change. Because you think back, we watched Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm like, look, Freddy was actually scary in the first couple of Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and then he became a jokester. I'm hoping they don't do that with Art. I think that some of his humor, the way he does, mystique. I laughed a few times watching this. I won't lie, I laughed a few times at some of it, like when he presents the song, he's like, I think stuff like that is amusing. So you can do that without actually talking at all. I think that you've got gold a little bit on your hands there, and I think they do have a quite an iconic character here, depending on how the sequels go here. So I'm excited for that. But for me with Pumpkins, Gore isn't scary to me. No. I was never really scared. I mean, you have things where I'm like, fuck. I think the scariest part of the movie for me was probably where he was cradling the little fake baby, and I was just waiting for him to snap. That was probably the scariest thing for me.
Yeah, I was just thinking, did he have a conversation with that cat lady in the tunnel when she was cradling him?
She was momming him, but
I thought he said something. I can't remember.
No,
because then the next scene happened and he was wearing her, and that kind of superseded.
So I'm only going to go 2 on the pumpkins because again, it didn't scare me. I don't find Gore scary, but I definitely think that this was a home run for a slasher flick, definitely. And one of my favorites that we've done so far, I think, this year. I'm quite happy with it. Like I said, if she had said she didn't like it, I was going to go ahead and watch 2 and 3 by myself. So I'm very interested. But I thought I'd give her a little bit of a break before I said, hey, let's watch more of this crazy gutting people clown. I think before, because I gotta pace myself when it comes to Gore. I can't overdo it. But I don't know. You watch all those Saw movies, you never got too grossed out.
But I feel like it was almost comedic or dark comedy, like the later Freddy movies.
All right, guys, so that was Terrifier. I'd love for you to drop in the comments. And since most of you have been telling me to watch this for like 5 years now, I'm pretty sure you have some thoughts on it. So please drop in the comments. Let us know what you guys think about it, and we will talk to you there.